from Deep Thoughts from the Dashboard. As you can see from my surroundings, the sun has not yet even come up yet, and the spooky lighting has to do with the overhead light in my car. Not so ironically, I guess, this morning, StoryCorps, which I listen to every Friday, I'm kind of glad it didn't make me cry this week, it usually does, was about balance. There was a mother and daughter on there talking about, it wasn't just about balance, but there was an underlying story of this woman who had a child when she went to MIT, and her struggle to sort of balance raising a child and also going to school. And today's topics to talk about for Deep Thoughts from the Dashboard have to do with balance. And most of these topics come from, different things that go on for me in the classroom. And now that I'm in this new role, trying to balance both my classroom teacher responsibilities as well as my instructional coaching responsibilities, as well as now also helping the staff to implement the new grading policy, which is going to sort of sweep the school starting next week. I'm very excited for it, but at the same time, I find myself pulled in a number of different directions. And I think a lot of teachers and administrators feel this way, whether it has something to do with their conscience, the obligations that they have to take care of, and the things they want to take care of. And sometimes that's at odds with each other, because we don't really want to sit around doing paperwork when there are people we could be working with, or we don't want to take time away from initiatives that we plan that want to be successful to handle other things that come up that aren't on our own agenda. And I think as a teacher, balancing my time of reviewing papers when students turn them in and finding ways to get information into the online grading system, as well as making sure to balance conferencing time in class, and then also balancing time at home once I left school without bringing too much of what I was doing in school home with me, really, really was a struggle. In the earlier part of my career, before I had a child and before I was married, it was different. I woke up in the morning, I got to school at 6 o'clock in the morning, I stayed at school until 6:30 at night. I came home and I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked, and it really didn't matter because I had few other obligations and I was so eager to do what I was doing well. Now, I have 2 masters, my students and the teachers, as well as, my admin for all of it. And to be honest with you, it's a struggle for me because I have a burning desire to do all of it really well. And when I feel myself starting to slip on any particular topic or responsibility, I feel somewhat responsible for that, which is extraordinarily challenging for me. So, for example, today I have the 3 classes that I teach. I start conferencing with students at 7:30 as soon as they're allowed into the building. And I'm working on college essays right now because really the goal that I'm still trying to adhere to is to have all my AP students' application work finished before October, which still gives me a little bit of time. I've met with almost every student in my 34-person class at least once, and I'm also meeting with my mentee, who's a brand new teacher, every single day, trying to check in with him, make sure he's got everything he needs. We haven't even really gotten into nuts and bolts of everything yet. Right now I'm in hardcore listening mode, trying to take in whatever I can from people who are working and trying to use my expertise. So establishing a really good relationship with my colleagues is something that I'm eager to do, and it's as important to me at this point as it is for me to establish good relationships with my students. I don't know if it's the right way to put it, but I kind of see this instructional coaching gig as another teaching gig. And the way that I interact with the people that I want to facilitate learning with it's always the same. We have something to learn from each other. I'm not the only one with the answers. And the only way for me to know what I could learn from them and what they need from me is to really truly listen, and that's where the balance starts to come in as well. I've been trying to really schedule my time at work in a way that is both meaningful and flexible, because obviously things come up. I need to check in. Sometimes I get pulled in different directions that aren't planned, and then other things get put on the back burner, but I can't allow it to really take away from anything. So, I mean, where I am right now is just trying to hopefully find a nice, clear balance between my teaching periods and what I need to do to plan for those appropriately, get kids involved with their own learning, and then after that, I need to also spend some time with these new responsibilities that I have, really making sure that I get into teachers' classrooms. I have done a survey last week. I'm trying to use the technology that I have in my hands right now to really streamline as much as I can, understanding too in the back of my mind that despite the best planning, there's always going to be something that comes up, and that's okay. So part of keeping this balance is also keeping a good head on my shoulders and really understanding that I need to be balanced and flexible. Flexible is really the key to balance, I think. The aspect of doing what I'm doing in a way that I don't start beating up on myself or anybody else. So if you guys have tips out there for balancing particularly hectic schedules, or you have questions as to how I do it, because, I mean, in addition to my 2 rules at work, the other things that I'm balancing, aside from being the mom of an almost 10-year-old who's playing baseball now, and fall ball is all weekend long, and then practices, and also speaking engagements and writing and getting all these other things that I do outside of school together as well, and still having a healthy eating and sleeping schedule, which I don't know if you could see from the bags in my eyes, that, sleep is probably the first thing that gets lost in my balance. Anyway, I hope everybody has an awesome Friday. Hope you can balance stuff out and really get some time to do great things with your school. If you guys have questions, you can reach out to me at Miss Sackstein on Twitter, or you could respond to this video on my YouTube channel. Have a super awesome day, everybody, and hopefully, we'll be talking soon. Speak to you guys.